Folks, it is time, since we are talking about we're talking about electoral politics, to address a rumor that there is a rumor that people are organizing a draft Seder campaign. I never speak of myself in the third party is the name of the campaign.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Draft Sam Seder. I don't know. These are all rumors of a rumor to run for the People's Party presidential nomination. The reason why I have to address this now, because I heard the rumor of the rumor. Well, I heard the rumor of the rumor like weeks ago, and then I heard the initial primary rumor. And I wasn't going to address it, but yesterday, the People's Party came out with a document. You know, and do I have a copy of it here? I know you just gave it to me, and I can't even.
We have it up. We have it up here.
Oh, we can have it up there. Okay, yeah, I think I have it here in my pocket too. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to read what the Movement for a People's Party. Now, if you haven't heard of the People's Party, that is because they've only been around for 2 years. And have been able to do not much. There's been a lot of controversy around its national chair. Their biggest claim to fame was the Force the Vote movement that they started. And I know there was a major protest that they had on the steps of the Capitol where I think at least
there were dozens of
people there.
protesters.
And
yeah.
They identified me as the primary reason why we do not have Medicare for all in the country.
Makes sense.
I think it's arguable.
I'd like to at least be identified as the secondary reason.
I mean, I think
I'm always getting short shrift.
You can't just jump right in like that. It takes a while to build that type of power.
I mean, you certainly have the ego to run for president on the People's Party platform.
I have some of the most thrilling news I've ever shared. Writes Nick Brana, national chair of the People's Party. Mm-hmm. Jimmy Dore is considering a run for president with the People's Party.
That's news.
Whoa.
Considering.
Oh, wait a second. God darn it. We've been discussing it with him and Steph. You know, here's the thing, is that these guys, they're broadening the movement.
The brain trust.
Not only must you all know who Jimmy Dore is, you also should know that Steph is his wife and producer.
No need to include her last name.
No need to in any way contextualize.
We're all familiar.
There's Cher and there's Steph.
Yeah.
Oprah. Cher.
We've been discussing it with him and Steph for several weeks, and he's talking about it on tour and on his show.
So it's content for him.
He would be the most popular comedian ever to run. Okay. Now, I'm not sure how old Nick is. Maybe he's 12. Maybe he's 30. I don't know. But there was someone called Dick Gregory who was a brilliant comedian and then became an amazing activist who ran for president. There was also Pat Paulson, who ran multiple times for president, also very famous at the time. Now, this is a while back ago, and I know there's been others. I can't even remember off the top of my head.
Can we count Donald Trump as a comedian?
No, we're only going to do actual working comedians.
Sorry.
Well, then I don't know how Jimmy qualifies, but that's okay.
Well, I mean, he does rants. He does rants. And
it's a big tent party, the People's Party, for comedians in terms of the definition. Not as big of a tent to include Donald Trump, Bradley.
Yeah. But, I'll just say I'm not surprised that Nick Brana would overlook Dick Gregory.
Although, let's be clear on this. That's a good point. Let's be clear. He is the most popular jack-off comedian to ever run. Or he would be. Okay, so let's continue. And the first person with his own show and million subscribers. Well, I mean, Donald Trump had a show, but there wasn't subscribers per se. Okay. A Jimmy Dore campaign and presidency could revolutionize this country. I think that's probably accurate. Every time... Oh, sorry. Every time he's brought it up, the crowds at his show and in the live chat have exploded with excitement. Now, let's just be clear. The venues in which he's at, maybe 100, 150 people. I mean, they're comedy clubs. And people have come to pay money to see him, and they're in his chat because they okay. So,
will he be reading my tweets on the campaign trail?
You specifically yours. Oh, maybe if he wants to do well. Let's show him what an incredible candidate we think he would make and how much support he would have. Jimmy streams his show live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern.
Go contribute to the views.
Go contribute to the views, but it doesn't end there. Join us for a party in the live YouTube chat of his show this Wednesday and Friday from 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern. Post in the live chat encouraging him to run. Send him a super chat telling him why it's personal for you and how President Jimmy Dore could change your life. Matt, what is a super chat?
A super chat is when you pay money to both YouTube and the streamer for your chat to appear highlighted in the chat.
I see.
It's not an Act Blue link?
I see. Okay. So you...
if you remember, Kelly used to want us to talk about super chats a lot because the more you talk about them, the more people use them and it gives us more money, but we thought it was gauche. So.
We thought it was a little bit gauche. I'm not a super chat. I don't have mind if you send a super chat, but that's just not the way we do things here. However, if you are a Jimmy Dore fan and you do not want me to run, send us a super chat and we will register that. But let me also say, if you are a Jimmy Dore fan and you do want me to run, send us a super chat.
Let us know.
Let us know. That way we can measure the level of support or non-support from Jimmy Dore fans. If you are a fan of this show and you do not want me to run, send a super chat. That way we can gauge that. It's the only way that we can gauge this. If you are a fan and you do want me to run, send a super chat.
Yeah.
So that we can...
Make sure our pollster sees your super chat.
Now, however, if you find after doing the super chat that there's too many super chats and you cannot... your super chat is not stand up, head over to jointhemajorityreport.com. Get a membership. If you feel that I should or should not run for president under the banner of the People's Party, or if you feel I should or should not run for president under any banner or at all, become a member of the Majority Report. If you feel that we are not responsive enough for that, please head over to the membership page and become a Sam Seder member, which actually is it's $1,000. And maybe if you join enough times as a Sam Seder member, you can actually decide
democracy
to run or not run. This is the way the democracy works. But let's just continue on here. Steph reads every super chat during the show, so Jimmy and thousands of people will hear your message.
That's super chat. Look
super
it up.
chat. I've just written an article sharing why Jimmy would make such a phenomenal candidate and president. Read it below and use this link to share it on social media. Post it to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and every platform with hashtag Dore24 and why you think you should run. Now, let me ask you this. Is it possible this is just like a paid message from the People's Party? In other words, Jimmy does this, pays the People Party to say, spam your email list with me. Or do you think the money flowing the other way? Do you think that the People's Party get a cut of what Jimmy makes on the super chat?
It's hard to say. It's interesting that they were accused during Force the Vote by some of this being a purely online podcaster and YouTube-based campaign that didn't really make sense or have connections to organizations on the ground. So now that they launch a potential political exploratory Jimmy Dore 24 committee, that it is also in the form of YouTube donations and social media activity.
I do appreciate the People's Party essentially going out and reaching out to a millionaire to become their nominee. But as we know, there is no doubt. I mean, I haven't read the bylaws of the People's Party, but is there any doubt?
Well, you might want to look at those closely.
Is there any doubt that the bylaw? I mean, is it bylaws or terms of service?
Yeah, it seems like terms of service. You got to sign an NDA and do whatever Nick Brana wants you to do.
Well, look, I am sure. I have faith that the People's Party has open primaries. How could they not?
We'll just
Of
assume.
course. Without any DNC interference.
Yeah, we'll just assume there could be no interference from the party bigwigs.
We need to fight the triopoly. And so this is an open primary, and I am not going to confirm or deny that I am aware of the rumor about the draft Seder campaign for the People's Party. I am not going to
Evasive.
I am not going to comment on whether I would accept the nomination if nominated. I'm not going to do any of that right now. Right now, I'm focusing on this job.
Yeah.
I have promised the people who listen to this program that I will do this show, and I will continue to do it to the best of my ability and make a decision on this at a later date. But I would recommend to you that if you have the opportunity to give us a super chat, that you do that for the sake of democracy.
Or you could just tweet hashtag draft Seder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's a Seder.
Is that the right hashtag?
Hashtag draft Seder. Yeah.
Hashtag draft Seder.
Draft Seder.
There you go.
Yeah, we'll just see. I mean, we will leave it up to the democracy of Twitter and super chatting, which is, how democracy is measured, especially
Since
within the
Citizens
bylaws
United.
of the People's Party. Then that will be
Pay to
the
play.
determinant. Yeah, exactly.
I just want to, while we're talking about the People's Party and Nick Brana and Jimmy Dore, remind people of this tweet from last December, from Christmas. Nick Brana this is what he was doing on Christmas, was watching Jimmy Dore debates, and he said a whole other side of this debate is the huge incentive that governments have to exploit COVID to expand increasingly authoritarian powers. Now that, we all know, turned out to be baby-brained or boss propaganda disguised as like sort of radical speak. Like a few weeks later, those folks were telling the Chicago teachers that they were fear-mongered by Fauci for not wanting to go to work sick and teach those kids because we got to go back to normal now. It's just a cold. So yeah, we just had an interview with the Trader Joe's guy, and he said, which is the exact same thing Christian Smalls said, that taking COVID seriously and our bosses not doing so was one of the main things we organized about. So good luck to this guy running the third party after completely poo-pooing and trolling and doing propaganda against the idea that workers should be taking their safety during a pandemic seriously and using that to leverage their bosses.
Okay, well, so you that is a criticism. And a fair criticism of their attempt to launch a presidential campaign. But how would you address, Matt, if you're going to be the cynic in this situation, the job the People's Party have done? As you know, Force the Vote was about identifying those Democrats who would not support Medicare for all. And yes,
is that what it's about?
Yes, we know at least 110 do not support it because they would not sign on to co-sponsor. So we at least know of 110. What you don't have an answer for, Matt, is the primary challenges that the People's Party has built to those Democrats, primary or general election challenges. Why don't you, Matt, respond to the slate of candidates running for Congress with the support of the People's Party? Why don't you do that right now?
Can you pull that up? Oh.
I just typed in and I couldn't find anything. So.
Huh.
Oh, that was pretty good. You did your own Foley work. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. They managed to launch the challenge of 0 Democrats, either in the general or in the primaries.
You can't name a candidate besides maybe Jimmy Dore, which it says all you need to know
Exactly.
about
Yes.
what this is. And I would just like to say we deserve credit for calling this crap out at the time. And the people who were laundering it, maybe look askance at them and wonder why that they were promoting. Just like, not what do they call it? Narcissism project.
Well, okay. So,
Vanity
Matt,
project?
you say that we called this stuff out as a narcissism project or as a grift or whatever it was, or just half-baked and silly. There is another theory that by calling this stuff out and calling Jimmy Dore out, that we created Jimmy Dore. For instance, the comedian Dave Anthony, who I used to be friends with. I knew him for years and years.
Is this one of his jokes?
No, Dave Anthony, don't put that up yet. Dave Anthony responded to the People's Party thing with like a big ha 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 thing, because I think Dave Anthony must have had a falling out with Jimmy Dore. But several years ago, because of my criticism of Dore, Dave Anthony blocked me and refused to talk to me anymore. I mean, it wasn't, we weren't that close, but I mean, we were friendly. So somebody wrote back to Dave Anthony, you cancel my butt was the name of the Twitterer. Said, didn't you block Sam Seder for mocking Jimmy Dore before? And Dave Anthony wrote, and I was right. There's decades of psychological research that shows when you push someone, especially contrarian, that person will move in the other direction. Idiots like Seder created this Frankenstein. So I am responsible by calling out Jimmy Dore for being a fraud in 2016.
By questioning his strategy.
Well, I mean, in 2016, we had this debate and we had a falling out over that because I said, I do think there's a difference between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, as much as I have a problem with Hillary Clinton, as much as I think the Democrats are, and I said, you're relying on the Democrats to do something that is both impossible if they don't control the Senate, that is to prevent Donald Trump from appointing judges, and you're relying on the Democrats to actually be cohesive enough force, even if they have that ability to do it. And I don't believe that because I just watch politics and make an assessment. He told me the idea that Donald Trump would have 3 Supreme Court appointees was akin to worrying about the moon falling in Lake Michigan. And I called him out on him saying that Peter Thiel, what difference would it make if he was a Supreme Court justice?
It's all the same anyway.
It doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters. And we're now moving into a period where it's going to be very, very clear on why it matters, not just in terms of choice, but in terms of like the EPA and the FDA and OSHA and on and on and on. And
it's interesting that it doesn't seem like those topics are being discussed much.
No.
But look what you made him do, Sam.
But I made Jimmy Dore be the way he is because I criticized him. So what you should do, according to Dave Anthony, is to make a psychological assessment of the persons you're criticizing who are involved in politics.
Make sure they're not contrarian.
Make sure they're not contrarians.
We get that DNA test.
Then once you get that clinical analysis, you should not critique them or they'll become more contrarian. Now, where have we heard this before? That's what happened with Dave Rubin.
Look what you made me do.
That is what a lot of fascists say, isn't it?
You're supposed to let them get big enough until they have so much audience that they are unchecked, and then you're supposed to be able to start criticizing them, right? Or even not then?
The funny thing is like we criticized Jimmy because he was already an idiot.
Right.
Like we didn't become an idiot after we criticized him.
No.
Correct.
Excuse me.